Well, I like dragon fruit a lot. So I've been trying to get it established around the grove in a couple of places. One place I wasn't trying to get it established is right here. And this dragon fruit was a lot smaller, and in the pot there was some potting soil that spilled over in this area or washed over in this area, and it got to be very happy. I just was using this shovel here to loosen up the roots a little bit from the pavement. But look at here. We have, oops, just tons and tons of roots. So obviously this is not a good long-term place for this particular plant. So I have an idea, and I'm hoping it works out. But it involves moving this to the back part of the grove, and well, I'll show you what I was thinking about. Hopefully it works out. This is actually much heavier than you think it would be. Yes, it's just a lot of water inside of this. So here's the dragon fruit with a huge root system, and unfortunately I don't think there's any way to avoid cutting the pot off, and so that's what I'm gonna do. I think we pretty much have to destroy the pot in order to get the all the roots. Basically it's got a lot of roots, and it could survive with far fewer than this, and probably none at all, because it would just regrow the roots. But since it's got such a nice root system, it seems like it would be good to give it a chance to keep it all. Okay, let's see where we are here. Pretty much have it. Guess it'll be easier if I take the bottom off all the way, but there aren't any other significant roots. Just a little bit more and this should be off. Okay, a bottomless pot. Not quite like a bottomless cup of coffee, but let's see how this. Well, I think since I destroyed the pot already and the root system is so big, I'm just going to make the final cut here so that I don't have to pull the root system all the way through the pot. It should minimize the amount of breakage. Sure wish this had gotten into an old raggedy pot instead of this nice one, but oh well. Okay, so here it comes. It's pretty heavy still. Didn't weigh all that much. Okay, so the idea, I think, is to get the roots in first, and then I brought some potting soil and peat moss in case I have room for that in here. And let's see, this is garbage. So hopefully I don't get into altercation with this plant. It's got lots of thorns on it. Okay. I have to make a little bit of room. This is, you know, the inside of the royal palm, it rots away, and the exterior is nice and hard. So my thought was that if I could get this inside, it would make a nice pot for this, and then as the plant droops over, I think the other side has fewer established dragon fruit pieces on it, so I'm going to turn this around and hopefully make it in here. Would be easier if this were lighter. I can't have everything. Okay, let's see if we can stuff this in. Not sure if there's enough room in here. This could be a flaw in the plan. I would say there's not going to be any room for the soil and peat moss that I brought. We'll try and make it work with this though. I got most of the part that wasn't in the pot in there, but then we have this complication here. So dragon fruit starts to fruit after these pieces start drooping down. So I wanted to try this as an experiment to see if we could put it in the hollow of this tree and have it live and produce fruit from a plant coming out of the inside of the tree, and then we have the ones on the outside already. So, you know, it's not only downside to this idea is the amount of work that I'm putting in right now, and hopefully it pays off, but we won't know that for a while. I feel like I need to secure this in this depression a little better, because this is actually a pretty heavy plant because all of this is just very rich with water, and so it makes it pretty heavy. Some roots on the outside, as long as the plant doesn't fall out, would not be a bad thing because they'll attach to the outside of this former royal palm. Just trying to get all of this, the roots and everything, as far down into the hollow as I can. Probably could have used a tool for this. Okay, I'm going to move the ladder a little bit so I can get better access to the other side and see if I can get that all firmed up. Probably our most rickety ladder. That's unfortunate. Really doesn't seem to be much opportunity to stuff this down any further. So I think I might just be sort of leaving it like this. I will spray this with water just to help sort of get the plant a little bit happier in its new home. They're pretty tough plants, and so I don't think it's going to die completely, but I'd rather it have a nice transition. You know, we've got just it had this part of the project on another video, earlier video, and this I basically, because the royal palm trunk is so smooth, I tied this dragon fruit to it so that the roots could start attaching to the royal palm trunk. And that's been working out pretty well. I see a lot of roots in here. The other place that we grew dragon fruit on a palm trunk, it was on a Bismarckia nobilis, just a trunk. We had cut the top off of that tree. And that was easy because there were lots of places to put the segments of the dragon fruit in, and it sort of just was happy and got established and grew and then started fruiting. This is just a different iteration of that same thing. I think palm trunks make a pretty good support for dragon fruit. A lot of people will use either like 4x4 posts, or even build a sort of a tower with concrete, and then these roots would attach to those things also. As soon as there's no place else to grow up, then the dragon fruit bends over, and that's when you start getting the fruit. So we have right here a couple flowers from this particular part of the collection here, and so there's 3 flowers here. We might get some fruit. I'm not sure about that because not only do you have to have flowers, but you have to have them pollinated, which I'm not sure they were. I certainly didn't do that. And then of course when the fruit is forming, it's good if you're the first animal that sees it and picks it, because there are other animals that like dragon fruit too. So anyway, we've got this. What I did first, before even putting the dragon fruit on the outside of the trunk, is I cut out the bottom of a huge pot and put that over the barren trunk at that point, filled it with some soil, and then put the dragon fruit along that so that it would have some place to root. Eventually the roots, even from fairly far up the trunk, will find soil, and so that way it has a better environment for it long term. But I will need to, after these hopefully fruit form, I will need to tie this up, or even cut it back. It makes it it's not ideal to have it dragging on the ground. Not terrible, but not ideal. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that and clean that up. But for now, the main project is getting that up in the top. And I think the last thing that I'll do is grab a hose and spray it down a little bit so it has got some water to help it get happy.